Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about narrative paragraph. What is narrative paragraph? A narrative paragraph tells a story or an event. This story is usually from your own personal experience, but it may also be an event that happened to someone else or a historical event. Your narrative should have a purpose for being told, and the audience should gain some new insight or perspective after reading it. It demonstrates the development of a person through the chronological retelling of an important event. In addition, a narrative paragraph should indicate how a person has changed or learned from this experience. To tell a story in its simplest form is called narrative paragraph. This type of writing is mostly talking about the events that happened in the past. It has the same organization as other paragraphs have: a topic sentence, supporting sentences or body sentences, and a concluding sentence. The story or event in narrative paragraph should be arranged chronologically. It means in time order, that is, in the order in which they have happened. A narrative paragraph must have a central idea, what the story or event is about, characters, who it is about, a plot, that is a conflict, complication, the climax, and resolution of the story or event, and an adequate description and setting when and where the story happens.
Now let's see the purpose of the narrative paragraph. The purpose is to share your insight about the event, create a shared sense of history, or just try to entertain for being told, and the audience should gain some new insight or perspective after reading. They are often used to describe what a person does over a period of time, describe a routine. Now, unlike descriptive paragraphs, which strive to explain why a person, place, object, or event is important, a narrative paragraph demonstrates the development of a person through the chronological retelling of an important event. In addition, a narrative paragraph should indicate how a person has changed or learned from this experience. The experience should unfold much like the plot of a novel or short story, beginning with the individual facing a problem and ending in the resolution of the problem and subsequent growth of the individual. Thus, the action of the problem should unfold as the telling of the event unfolds, much like the action of a short story was as the plot progresses.
Transitional words or phrases. In both academic writing and professional writing, your goal is to convey information clearly and concisely, if not to convert the reader to your way of thinking. Transitions help you to achieve these goals by establishing logical connections between sentences, paragraphs, and sections of your papers. In other words, transitions tell readers what to do with the information you present to them. There are three types of transitions, which are between sections, between paragraphs, and within paragraphs. The first one is transitions between sections. Particularly in longer works, it may be necessary to include transitional paragraphs that summarize for the reader the information just covered and specify the relevance of this information to the discussion in the following section. The second one is transitions between paragraphs. If you have done a good job of arranging paragraphs so that the content of one leads logically to the next, the transitions will highlight a relationship that already exists by summarizing the previous paragraph and suggesting something of the content of the paragraph that follows. A transition between paragraphs can be a word or two. However, for example, similarly, a phrase, or a sentence. Transitions can be at the end of the first paragraph, at the beginning of the second paragraph, or in both places. Transitions within paragraphs. As with transitions between sections and paragraphs, Transitions within paragraphs act as cues by helping readers to anticipate what is coming before they read it. Within paragraphs, transitions tend to be single words or short phrases. We are going to see some examples of transitional expressions, which are divided in categories. At the left, we have the logical relationship, and at the right, we have the transitional expression for it. I'm going to read only the first ones so you can get familiarized and you can recognize them. So, if you want to talk about similarity, you can say also, in the same way, just as, so too. If you want to do an exception or contrast, you can say but, however, in spite of. If you can make a sequence or an order, you can say first, second, third. If you're talking about time, you can say after, afterward, at last, before. If you're giving an example, you can say for example, for instance, namely. If you want to emphasize, you can say even, indeed, in fact. If you want to give a place or a position, you can say above, adjacent, below. If you want to explain a cause or an effect, you can say accordingly, consequently, hence. If you want to add support or evidence, you can say additionally, again, also. And if you want to give a conclusion or a summary, you can say finally, in a word, in brief. Now we are going to see some examples of transitional words, which are also divided in categories. We have transitional words of illustrations that can be thus, for example, for instance. We can have about contrast to, on the contrary, contrarily. We have about addition. We can say add, in addition to, furthermore. We can also talk about time. We can say after, afterward, before. If you want to talk about space, you can say at the left, at the right, in the center. If you're talking about concession, you can say although, at any rate, at least. If you want to talk about a similarity or make a comparison, you can say similarly, likewise, in like fashion. If you want to do an emphasis, you can say above all, indeed, truly. If you want to give details, you can say specifically, especially, in particular. You can also be giving examples by saying for examples, for instance, to illustrate. You can pose a consequence or a result, so you can say so that, with the result that, thus. You can also give a summary, and you can say therefore, finally, consequently. And you can give suggestions by saying for this purpose, to this end, with this in mind.
Steps to write narrative paragraph. We will find some steps. The answer is 9. We will find 9 steps to write a correct narrative paragraph. Step by step. First, introduce your story main idea in the topic sentence. Then, you will build on your main idea with the help of a history, examples, etc. Use a physical description to create a visual image in the essay. Write in a way that it's easy for the reader to visualize the scene. Write the scenes in order, the sequence in which they occur. Use foreshadowing or flashback techniques to make it interesting. Then, you have to use only one type of tense, i.e. past, present, or future. Use a transition of time in your narrative paragraph greeting. Try to link your sentences in a paragraph. Tell the story either from first person, I, or third person, he, she, them, point of view.
Then, your conclusion is a summary of your paragraph. Write in only one sentence. Then here we have a tip. You can use the above state points to write a good narrative paragraph.
Example. Let's get started. Yesterday was the worst day in my life. First of all, I was supposed to be in classes at 7 a.m., but I woke up at 9:30. I was worried because I had a lot of assignments to do and I was already late for everything. When I started to work on the assignments, the internet stopped working. I tried to call to get help to fix the internet connection, but my phone screen was freeze. After 7 minutes trying to fix the internet connection, it started raining cats and dogs. I was stressed because I couldn't do anything. Despite this, nothing could be worse until I realized that it was Saturday and it was my free day. At the end, I waste my time worrying about everything when it was unnecessary. Here, the topic sentence is, yesterday was the worst day in my life. The body sentence is, first of all, I was supposed to be in classes at 7 a.m., but I woke up at 9:30 a.m. I was worried because I had a lot of assignments to do and I was already late for everything. When I started to work on the assignments, the internet stopped working. I tried to call to get help to fix the internet connection, but my phone screen was freeze. After 7 minutes trying to fix the internet connection, it started raining cats and dogs. I was stressed because I could not do anything. Finally, the concluding sentence is, despite this, nothing could be worse until I realized that it was Saturday and it was my free day. At the end, I waste my time worrying about everything when it was unnecessary. That's all for us. Thank you so much.